Hello everyone, I'm V the Amazing Greek. On this channel, I'll just go with V. This is my second channel, and I wanted to start this one off giving a little introduction about myself, especially what this site is going to be based on, or what it's going to be about. So I have another channel. It's Anestis 1971, A-N-E-S-T-I-S. It's a channel where I make things, weapons, things I need, repair, make reinforced doors, things like that, whatever. Things like that. This channel, I started it because I want it to be in the role-playing genre of channels, I guess you could call. My initial thought on this channel was to take a person, a new person, or someone new to world building. It's a very involved and can be complex process, and just a couple weeks ago I got the bug to go from making things with the hands and doing all this to my brain started kicking in again. I go through phases, and I wanted to write again. I just had all these ideas popping in my head, so I started writing them down. So before I go into all that, I'm going to give you a little background about myself. I'm a Greek American. I'm the first one born on either side of my family. My dad was Greek, my mother was French, and they both came here to America. I was the first one born on either side of the family in America, so that's pretty cool. I'm an old school gamer. But the term gamer is changed completely anymore. Now you think gamer and somebody doing this. Ooh, ooh. That's not. I play video games, but not like, say, my brother and my brother-in-law. They can sit there and play for hours. I can't do that. I grew up, heck, when Atari and stuff was coming out, and even then it was fun, but that wasn't my thing. I remember when I was first introduced to Dungeons and Dragons. I was a freshman in my high school. Well, not freshman, junior high. I became aware of it. An art teacher actually started running after school a basic D&D campaign, the red box set, for students after school. I didn't get to partake of it, but it was coming around, and I heard about it, and I was curious. Well, by the time I hit high school, my freshman year, somehow I got slotted to sit out and watch. It was an art thing where they had the students art out and they had somebody out there to watch, to make sure nobody messed with it. So I'm talking to this kid, and somehow, some way it came up. I was a nerd in high school. I mean, I was into the Star Trek and Star Wars. I mean, it was pretty bad. Not the pasty white nerd that, waiting to be a victim or nothing like that. But it is up here pretty nerdy, which is cool. It serves me well nowadays. But I remember the conversation came up, something about, have you ever played? And we started talking about it, and I didn't understand, like, how do you play if there's no board and there's this and that? Back then the miniatures weren't as popular as they've become lately with the later editions of Dungeons and Dragons. So we talked about it a little bit, and I was like, man, that really sounds neat. That sounds neat. So as he was getting out of it, I bought everything I could get my hands on of his. I started with the red box set, then got the advanced set, had a blue box, and there was one for one box that's like massive campaigns and like running armies against you, so all that stuff. Then got into the advanced Dungeons and Dragons and second edition, and after that I didn't really I liked the second edition, so I never really got into the third and all that. I played with this second edition, and that's what I liked. That's my taste. It's so much fun. It's like I said, I can't play the video games for hours and hours, but I can sit all night and just the night go away, doing role playing. I played, like I said, the Dungeons and Dragons. I played Shadowrun, Cyberspace, some other games like that on and off over the years. And now I like the GURPS system. It's really, really open, and you can generate your characters. Just there's so much depth to it. But I find myself also referencing back to a lot of D&D material, AD&D, whatever you call it. I call all of it Dungeons and Dragons, whatever edition it is. So I've always loved. I love to play, but there's nothing like creating your own world and just everything in your head, just bringing it to life, you know, at least on the paper and the maps. I spend a lot of time, way too much really, in the past with the graph paper and just, I mean, I have maps right now that I'm converting to a mapping program that just, they cover basically an entire wall of a room in this graph paper taped together, you know, the maps I do. But it's not that bad, and so I want to take a person through it and show as I'm doing it the kind of the thought process, some of the things that are important, some of the things that aren't so important, don't have to worry about till later, and things like that. I wish I would have had someone to kind of help me along, but back in the old days, you picked up a book and either you got a campaign set or you slowly start making your own thing. And once I realized you can make your own world, that was it for me. I'm constantly drawing maps and things like that, and it's not that hard to come up with ideas for that. I'll cover some of these things in other videos. I just, like I said, kind of an introduction. I grew up in the time when you played Dungeons and Dragons, the fear was from the parents, oh my God, he's gonna learn magic, or him and his friends, they're not gonna know reality, and they're gonna kill each other. You know, if somebody in the game dies, they're gonna kill them. That kind of crazy ass stuff that was going on back then, you know. Of course, now they say the video games makes kids violent. I don't know about all that. I know when I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, I was calm, and then when I was made to stop playing for a while, I had a little bit of a mean streak in me, and I think that the D&D kind of curbed that. And I remember, here's one of those crazy stories. If you have a better one, I would love to hear it. Being that me and my 5 friends in high school, all nerds, but all successful today, so it, you know, don't think because you're a nerd now it doesn't pay off. It pays off. Look at where most of the jocks end up, you know. So, but anyway, when I was growing up, we had a restaurant. My dad owned a restaurant. We worked in it, of course. We're Greek. That's what we do. So we ran out of oregano one time. We were making some spaghetti sauce. So I got in the car and ran to the market to get some oregano for my dad. And one of the kids from the high school was a cashier there. And so I got the oregano and whatever else we needed. And when I went to pay for it, this is how dumb people are, or how misunderstood RPGers back in the day were, when it wasn't as mainstream. It was coming along. I went to pay for the oregano as he was scanning things. He said, "Yeah, you go to the high school, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." He said, "You play that game, the this and that dungeon thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I play it." He said, "Oh." He scanned. He goes, "Is this for a spell?" I was like, "What?" I said, "No, I'm making spaghetti sauce." He's like, "Oh." So the thought process was that since I play Dungeons and Dragons, I can cast spells like I'm learning real magic, you know. That's just one of the craziest things that ever happened to me in relation to being a gamer, and I thought that was just it. I'll never forget that. That just sticks with me. It's crazy. So that's kind of who I am, what I'm about. I love to create. I love to GM, DM. It's so much fun. And so I'll be making videos. I've already started on the world that I'm working on so that I have things to show you. And next set of videos, that's what they'll be about. So like I said, I'm V. I hope you continue to watch, and maybe I can help you out if you have any questions. How do you do this? What do you think about that? As you see the videos, if you think you have an interest, I'd love to have the questions. Of course, I'll make video responses to them, and try to help anybody who's into the paper and pencil and dice. I help you out as best I can. I mean, my dice, my first set of dice that I bought, I still have. These are older than my marriage. These are older than my kids. They're us old school gamers, I think. I mean, really, the few times that I've thought they've got misplaced and lost, you know, freaking out looking everywhere for them. So I finally made me a chainmail bag, and I got all my dice in there and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the old school dice where when you bought them in the old days, you could go to Walden's and there was a section, pretty much Dungeons and Dragons and whatever other little games were coming along. Star Frontiers, maybe, I think, was one of them. And when you went up to the counter, there were dice right there. Not just six-sided dice like you can get at Food Line or Kroger. I mean, a full set of what you need for Dungeons and Dragons. Awesome. I got me an orange set, and it came with a white crayon. A white crayon and a blue crayon. And, yeah, because it was orange and a blue mixed set. And what you had to do was when you bought your dice, it was the dice, but the colors were not in the numbers. You had to take that heavy wax crayon and fill them in. And so on your 20-sided die, you had to go around filling every number, you know, and all that. So it's a very personal item at that point. And I don't know if anybody's like me, probably a lot of gamers are. Don't touch my dice when you're doing your stuff. I don't want the mojo, you know, screwing me over. I'm the same way when I start writing. I have a pad. You always you got to have a pad with you, or at least a little notebook that fits in here and a paper pen. Me personally, I binder, and I have a pen that I use, nobody else uses. I don't use it to write the checkbook. I don't use it to make a note, you know, call wife. I don't use it for anything but writing. Because when I get going, you know, somebody can ask me a question. When I used to work with my buddies, I miss those days too. People you could feed off of. When I was making a space campaign, they say, I'd write, so what do you think about that? And they say, that's a good, but what about this? You touched on it, and I wonder. I say, oh, okay, give me a minute, I'll think about it. I'd come back an hour and a half, I'd have 23 pages written, because it starts flowing, and you know, you got to get it down. So it's very important to have a pad and paper. Well, the pad has paper. Pad and a pen, so you can write these notes down, because in my notebook right now, I know I've seen the same note written 3 times in relation to elven traits for living in different areas. So it's a good thing to write it down, because if you don't, you're going to forget, you know. So anyway, that's me. That's what I'm about. So I hope I can help you guys. And I'm going to do my best to give you some good information, real generic stuff. I don't care what you're creating, this generic stuff. You can use it for GURPS, you can use it for Dungeons & Dragons, whatever the heck else is out there these days. You know, modern worlds, things like that. So I hope you continue to watch, hope I can help you, and I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you.